So my name is Stephanie Patton. I am the principal of City Preparatory School for girls, grades 6 through 8. What makes it unique is that it is an all-girls public school, which is one of the only ones in Ohio that is in the middle school range. I was invited last year to go and see students present the Korda Method through their research with an entrepreneur. I was blown away at the skill set that the students had. We do get offered a lot of things to come into the schools and work with kids and have a lot of claims, and oftentimes you don't really see that come to fruition. And so you have a lot of teachers that say, oh, is this just one more thing, or this too shall pass? And so being able to actually incorporate it into a classroom was something that we felt was innovative.
My name is Pam Reed, and I've been teaching in Columbus City Schools for 20 years. I took the Korda Method and applied it to what I was doing. I put together a unit to get my kids interested in humanities. How do you get kids to care about history? I have to teach a standard about migration. I had this humongous, elaborate idea of what I wanted them to learn. Well, that's not true. What I really was telling her was what I wanted to teach, because that's how I approach a lot of things, is I want to teach this, I'm going to teach this. When Doris just brought me back to earth and she said, what do you want them to learn? I was like, oh, I want them to learn about the system of human migration. Like, why does it happen and how does it happen? And that's really as simple as it was. And then we all did a project with Myanmar. So because Myanmar is our biggest global crisis right now, we figured out what are the biggest problems that the Rohingya are facing right now. And if the Rohingya moved to Columbus, Ohio, what would we have to do to be prepared for them?
I'm Britton Wilson. I'm an 8th grader at the City Preparatory School for girls, and I take the Humanities class. So one of the projects that we did was the Myanmar Refugee project, where we had to connect past migrations to the present. Usually I'm used to connecting the past to the present, but this time we got presented with the present, and then we had to connect it to the past by ourselves. So it was really different, and I really enjoyed it because it made me have a deeper understanding myself, along with my teammates, of what we had to do and what we've learned.
There are so many different perspectives, so many different opinions, so many things that each person wants to do, and we disagree a lot. We normally disagree a lot, but it's also kind of a healthy thing that we do, because usually we all solve it all together and we produce a solution that's more great than before.
So during our refugee presentations, we actually had a refugee and we had an organization there to be able to talk about something that they know a lot more about us than we do, presenting to them and actually putting out our information that we got during research. It was surreal because they actually knew, and it was actually a real person who goes through the struggle that we are talking about.
My name is Jeremy Holland. I am the Community Connectors Program Coordinator at Community Refugee Immigration Services, CRIS, which is a local nonprofit that serves the new American population with a plethora of services. I am in charge of running our mentoring program that serves middle and high school Columbus City youth. And so Pam asked if I would be willing to be a subject matter expert, and then I brought a colleague, Tara Dungani, who is not only a coworker but also a Bhutanese Nepali refugee. Each group presented, and then we got to ask questions. Each one kind of picked a different aspect of the refugee migration for the Rohingya. They tied it to the history of the United States and how services would be given, but then also kind of how to create a culture of welcome. And they were surprisingly so far advanced in that it kind of shocked Tara and I. Some of our college students that we work with did not have the understanding that they did, or the respect.
I feel like what we have to say as a younger generation matters, because we're the future. It feels more meaningful if somebody of a higher stance is listening to it.
We actually learned that there's way much more than just presenting in class and just finding information online. You have to connect it and make sure that they understand what you're talking about, because they know about it more than you. So having good research and credible research really helps.
My whole mindset changed. It was kind of set, it was stuck on, getting the grade, taking the test, and spitting all your knowledge out and just forgetting it the next week and learning something else. So now that we're getting into topics that I'm actually passionate about and that I actually care about, then I want to remember it, I want to learn it, and I want to keep going.
They did interviews with local organizations. They created maps, charts, graphs. They designed an entire community house that, where and what part of town it would be in. So then when we transitioned into reading A Raise in the Sun, and there's all these things about assimilation in there, My kids were like, oh, well, yes, they're trying to assimilate to the dominant white culture. And when we were learning about the Rohingya coming over, and I was like, oh, right. So how does that connect to the younger family? And what are the connections that they're making are so much deeper and broader than what I would have given to them. I don't think there's ever been a time as a teacher that I felt like I was making this huge difference, like an impact on my kids that would transcend what I was doing in the classroom that day. I can do pockets of that, but I've never felt like I did that for a whole class of kids.
I'm just so thankful to be in a class like this because I'm glad to take an approach to a different type of learning. And I'm just ready to have more projects and more things to learn. Actually, Miss Reed said tomorrow we're going to start with redlining, and there's going to be a project within that, so I'm excited to see what's further to come.
In looking at what we were going to research and what we were going to present, it was all through the students' lens. So it was student-led, which is a teaching standard that we encourage. So the students got to pick things that were important to them and then be able to tie it in through history, through social studies. So our students did the immigration project, so they were able to look back at Christopher Columbus. They were able to tie in the academic piece. And also when you're talking about theme and setting and other things that are in English language arts, those things also attributed to building the concepts that they did during their presentation. So it was an easier transition because we did it through an academic course. And I always tell my girls, I just want to give you an even playing field. That's all I want. I want you to have the same opportunities, whether you're paying no tuition, whether you're paying $30,000 in tuition, it doesn't matter. I want you to have that same skill set, having a voice and being able to speak up in the boardroom and just really knowing how to navigate your way, through society. We're still partnering with Doors to take it even further because it really is a benefit to our kids and to our teachers.